The France 24 debate, looking at the G20 Summit, where it's the US, China, and the rest. And we're looking at it from New York, Robert Brusca, Chief Economist for Fact and Opinion Economics, former Division Chief at the New York Federal Reserve. Welcome back. Welcome back to Martin Corr of the Geneva-based South Center, an intergovernmental policy think tank. And in our studios here in Paris, Ali Fatemi of the American Graduate School here in Paris. And also with us, Anne Leroux, whose company Ethos Paris sells clothing and apparel while respecting, what do you say, sustainable development? What's the correct term for your...
Well, you could call it sustainable fashion.
Yeah.
In French, we say la mode éthique. And,
ethical fashion.
Ethical, of course, englobes a lot of things. In our case, it's talking about the fabrics, which are organic cotton and other natural fabrics, and the way that they're made, which is in fair trade.
All right. And we were talking just before the break about Barack Obama's statement earlier in the day in Seoul, where you could call it a truism. He said that if the U.S. economy doesn't pick up, the whole world will suffer. Obama's tone, by the way, almost exactly mirroring that of the Chinese premier last month when he was in Brussels at the EU-China Summit.
Without the stability of the RMB exchange rate, there would be no stability for businesses, for employment, for our people. And also, if China has social and economic problems, it would be a disaster for the world.
Robert Brusca, is it an unmovable object against an irresistible force?
Well, you hear that news clip, and, you know, what I hear is somebody from China talking about how there would be a lot of chaos in China that would be difficult for China and projecting that difficulty on the rest of the world. China, clearly, for its own needs of stability, doesn't want the yuan exchange rate to change very much. You know, the prospect for getting some kind of plaza-like accord would require exchange rates to be blown to some kind of extreme where we could get agreement. Remember, the reason we had a plaza accord is because both the U.S. and the Germans agreed that the exchange rate was bad. And so we don't have any meeting of the minds right now. Right now we have leaders at loggerheads. So we don't have any natural solution. We do have China beginning to make sounds like they're moving in the right direction. But I think the polar ice caps are melting faster than China is moving. So that's the problem. China really wants to control the speed, to control its domestic economy, domestic political agenda. Its stability is at the top of its agenda. Meanwhile, the U.S. has this big pressing current account problem that it's trying to get a handle on, an economy that's really rather fragile, and it wants to get that moving. And so the Federal Reserve is trying QE2, and people are, you know, basically trying to undermine it before it's given a chance to work. You know, I just think it's so funny that in the G20, all the countries there are against it, and in the U.S., most economists think it won't work. So I just think that when you look at this, you just see how, you know, you have, you know, blind men feeling the elephant, and everybody's seeing something different, and it's what he sees out of his own experience. I mean, nobody has a consistent view. Nobody has a cohesive plan for the world economy. This is all about me. Nothing about us. All about me. And that's what Seoul is about. Seoul is about me. That's why it's failing.
Ali Fatemi.
Yeah, on this, I totally agree with Mr. Brusco, because every one of the leaders who's sitting there and has talked, they're talking to the home crowd. Nobody is taking a global perspective. There is no world statesman. And I think the person who really should take the initiative there, and I think he is working on it, he will do it, is Dominique Strauss-Kahn. Because IMF can play a major role here. What he has done by increasing the quota of China and bringing China in a responsible position to be one of the big three, US, Japan, and China, he's on the right track. We need somebody who can look at the world problems and say, look, you all, as Brusco said, you all worried about your own countries, and the world is being neglected. That kind of leadership does not exist right now, and everybody was hoping this will come out of the G20. And I wonder what Mr. Sarkozy can do for the year that he's going to be the president, whether he has the weight to take the lead and do something.
Martin Corr, today